So it's recording now. So what I will be doing is at the end of tonight's session, when you log on to the Google Classroom, all you need to do is your Gmail account, which I think I've got for the majority of you. If not, what I'll do is I'll put the class code up and I'll send it out so you can just add with the class code. But I'll be putting the videos on there, so you'll be able to get them. And also I've got the handbooks, which are just very basic instructional guides to go through all the software. It is quite a lot, so I will be going through, but anytime, again, just use the chat box and we'll go from there. So let's get started. What I want to do just to begin with is just to recap the very basics of the Google Classroom from last week. And then I'm going to start looking through the software, and then I'm going to go through. The aim is to look at slides, docs, sheets, forms with quizzes and questionnaires, and a piece of software called Jamboard, which some of you may have heard of. Joe Webb's going, never heard of Jamboard. You wait. You will like Jamboard. It's good. So once we've done that, hopefully we'll all be set up. So let's get started. So just to begin with, the first screen you're going to see, this one with the black at the top, is the teacher's screen. Heather, can you see a black teacher screen?
Yeah, Google Classroom 2.
Fantastic, good.
Yeah.
We also have two students tonight. So we have this student who is on Mozilla Firefox. So they've got the silver bar at the top. So that's my other student. And then I have my other student is not so clever, uses Internet Explorer, and their screen will look like this. So I'll be mixing between the three to help support the learning. So let's start by looking at the teacher screen to begin with. So basics of the teacher's screen, we're going to be looking at how to set up assignments for our students. So just to do that, I'm going to go to classwork at the top. Now I can create an assignment for them. So again, create, set assignment, and from that we're going to give it a title. So we're going to call this one presentation on Vikings. I don't know why. Again, insert your instructions here for the learners. So okay, so there we go. I have no time or patience for people. Again, we can add a rubric, which we looked at last week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse a rubric that we've already done. Have I created one? Yeah, there we go. So I'll upload my rubric for it. And the same as with last time, we can pick which student we want this to go to. And I want this to go to all students. I'm not differentiating this for any specific learners. Now, when we send this out to the learner, what I'm going to first off just start by doing is just sending them out this blank task. So once I'm happy, it's automatically saved. I assign it to my learner. Brilliant. So that's assigned. It's gone. I've set them the presentation date, and that's good. So let's go to my learner one. Learner one is going to be my favorite because they use a much better browser. So this is my other student now. You can see it's got the silver bar at the top, and they can see they've got their assignment, a presentation on Vikings. They've got their rubric, they've got their instructions, and they've got the title. Now, the learner who logs onto their computer is then going to go to add or create, and they have a few options here. They have docs, slides, sheets, and drawings. So firstly, I'm going to look at a tool called Docs. I'm going to start with that one because it is the most basic tool. When you see it, you'll instantly recognize it and the features of it. It's pretty much just Microsoft Word. Again, the core thing that I like about this version of Microsoft Word, especially for our learners, is it actually is a very stripped down version. It hasn't got all of the tabs, it hasn't got all the bits and pieces. It's very much a very basic text-based software for them. So they can write on here, Let's just type something. Okay. So there they go. Same as with the other software, they can underline, they can bold, and they can add titles and bits and pieces. So they can play around to their heart's content. Again, key thing is automatically saved. So they don't have to do file or save as. If the computer decides to die halfway through, it's automatically saved. They can't complain about it not being handed in because they didn't save it. It's automatically done, so it's not an issue. Now, once they've completed the work, what they can do is they can just go to turn in. And they hit turn in. So the student has now turned that in. They can see the work, then go, yes, I'm happy with that. And there they go. They have now submitted that work. Now they do have the option, if they actually go, oh no, I forgot to add that paragraph, they can unsubmit it. So it takes it back. And then if they go, actually, no, I was correct, that was the right one, they can then turn that work in. So Google Docs, very nice piece of software. It's a clear one for all level of learners, especially if all you're focusing on, if you're looking to mark, is writing and presentation skills, it is key. So that one's done. Now let's go to our next learner. So this is learner 2. You can tell because they're using Internet Explorer, which means it will probably crash and break at some point. They've got the same assignment. And again, they can add or create. Now they're going to use slides. Great thing again, it's very much, when it pops up, you'll notice it straight away. It's basically PowerPoint. It's a very stripped down version of PowerPoint, same as with Microsoft Word, how it's been, they've taken off all the tabs at the top. Normally you'd have all these tabs up here. They can set layouts, again, exactly the same as PowerPoint. They can apply themes if they want to, make it look a little bit more fancy. There they go. It's got the transitions, same as with other slides. So they can move in between them. It's absolutely no problem at all. But let's complete this one. So Vikings. There we go. So they can create a very nice, simple presentation. Now, if they're gonna, let's put in a new slide. There it is, new slide. Now, the great thing that I really like about this is because it's connected to Google Chrome and it's through that, when they search the web for an image, it's straight into Google Images. There's no worrying about copying and pasting and saving it. So they can put in here, Vikings. And they go, yeah, that looks a good picture. And they can just insert it. Again, it's about the simplicity of what they're creating, and they can do it all on one page. So there's, okay, so there's the presentation. Very nice. Now, once they're happy with this, what they can do is they can present it, they can check it, all happy, but the key thing is automatically saved. So they can close it down, and once they're happy, they turn it in. Same as with the last piece of software on Firefox, they just instantly turn it in. Now, the issue with Internet Explorer and why I don't like it is that turn it in is not on the actual document. They have to close down the window and then go through this way. But that's because Internet Explorer is dreadful. So let's now go to our teacher's screen. So we go back to our teacher's screen. It's got the black font at the top. And I can go on their presentations. And I can see that 2 have handed in. There's no more left to hand in. And I can see there's their work. Now, the first thing to remember with this is that as soon as you create the presentation, it automatically creates a folder on your Google Drive for just that assignment. So I can, if I go to my classroom session, I can see it's automatically created this folder where I can get access to that. If a student wishes to submit more than one piece of work, they can submit as many as they want for that. At different times, probably not. It likes to submit them all as one big bulk. So that's a really good question. So let's go to our presentation on Vikings, and they've got my two students' work. So if I've got a classroom I've set up, it automatically creates a folder just for those students' work. And that's handling a PowerPoint there, and it's handling the document. Let's get out of that screen. Now, when I click on the assignment that's been submitted, I've got straight away, I've got the work there. Yes, you get a notification when the work is handed in. You get an email, actually. So if I quickly look at my Gmail for this, you actually see a load of rubbish in my emails. It's there somewhere. There will be an email there saying that. What normally happens is you get it. I think I've used a different account for this one. Yeah, so I'm not logged in my email, but you'll get an email when a work has been submitted. But I can click on the student's work. I can see there's the student's work, and I can add, I've got my suggestions. So I could say, don't like that. There we go, group. I can, again, I can go to adding comments to say, I want to say, don't say the word lads. Chaps instead. It's much better. So I can still got all the same review and recap features that you would normally have on Microsoft Word. So I can add suggestions. I can delete bits and pieces, especially if there's incorrect punctuation or grammar. I can also add in ideas for the students. I can place them a mark. 2, I'm feeling generous. Again, if there's a rubric, I can fill that in for them. And I can add private comments. There we go. Now, once I'm happy, I just hit return. Return that to the student, and that's gone. Lovely. Let's look at my other student. So they've done a presentation. There we go. Wonderful stuff. Again, I can go to I can add comments on the side, which the student can then see. And I can then also add I can use my comment bank down the side. Now, the other thing is you don't have the suggestions on this one. That's really just for using on Microsoft Docs. But it is, you can add all those bits there. Once the student's work has been marked, yes, they get an email straight away to say their work has been returned. So the student gets an email when the work's returned, and you get it once you've sent it out to them. So let's go to the grading. Yeah, 11 they can have. And I'm going to return that to them. There we go. Close that down. Again, automatically it is saved with the students. It tells me that I have no more left to hand in, no more assigned, and I have marked 2, giving me their grades for those students. Now, let's go to our learner screen. So here I am on my learner screen. Now, they can send in, I think someone asked about, could they send in separate pieces of work at separate times? And that they can do that. I'm not a massive fan of it because you can't schedule specific times. You have to set it as individual ones, but they can go back and go, actually, I want to submit another piece of work. So let's look at another piece of software. Yeah, if, Helen Harrod, send her the link. She's more than happy to come on. That's absolutely fine. The next software I want to look at is Sheets. Now, Sheets, again, it's pretty much straight away, it's Excel. Nice thing again, it's a stripped down version, but it still has all of the same sort of features that we have used before in the past. So, you know, I can put, let's put some numbers in. Sorry, I'll turn my num lock off. So if they do want to add some numbers in, they can still do all the same features that they would have with basic Word. So they can sum them, they can average them. There we go. So it's got all the same features. It will also use the same sort of formulas. So for example, there we go. So exactly the same as with your basic Excel that you've used. So if you do want to use spreadsheets, you can do that. We can create graphs and charts. And again, the key thing for this is that they can, it's completely free. And it's nice and clear, it's nice and easy for them to use. And it is a simple tool for them to play with. This recording will be available after the session. It's going to be on your Google Classroom, which you'll have a link to. It is recording right now, so I won't swear. Let's look at another piece of software that they want to use. And it's one that I've not really kind of played around with too much. I've only kind of played with it in the last few weeks. And I really kind of realized, well, why have I not played with it enough? It's fantastic. And this is Google Drawings. Now, Google Drawings, for me personally, when I look at it, I think it can be used for a couple of things, really. So firstly, it's, you know, it's a very basic, it looks like Publisher. If I was to call it something, I would call it Microsoft Publisher in a way. So on here, they can insert an image. So let's go to our student. They're going to go Vikings. I don't know why I've got these lads. Yeah, this lady. So they can put in a picture. Wonderful. Just so you know, I didn't do well at art in school. So they can apply this, they can insert text. So here we go, let's put in this, Vikings. Wonderful. And they've got shapes and bits and pieces, so there you go. So you've got a very basic publisher for them. Now, what I also like about it, and when I was thinking of how this could be used, especially in our classroom, it's great to get the students if they want to do a thought shower on, you know, if you want to think of them to think of different tools they can use. And they can kind of put bits and pieces together. It's just about really kind of exploring how can I use this piece of software to my advantage. And the key thing for me I always found was that it's just where can we use it and how can we benefit. So you could set them a task, create a thought shower using drawings on this topic. And you know, the thing again, if you look at it, it's simplistic. The focus is on the learning as opposed to how much glamorous stuff we can get in there. Because what I found in the past is that sometimes with software, the students can spend so long focusing on all the buttons and bits and pieces and jazzing it up, they forget about what they're actually trying to do. So drawings is a really great simple tool for that. So let's get rid of some of these. So my student has resubmitted their work. There they go, they've turned in. So now I've got 3 pieces from them, all 3 of them terrible. So lovely. Now, let's go to our teacher's screen. So there's my assignment. We've looked at slides, we've looked at docs, and we've looked at adding suggestions on them. Again, key thing is all of that work now is in the presentation folder on Vikings, even the resubmitted work that had come in. So it's, if you're looking to use existing software that's out there that maybe they've used in the school and they haven't got access to at home, these are the 4 basic tools that you've got there. You've got PowerPoint, you've got Excel, you've got Publisher, and you've got Microsoft Word. And again, it's free to use. It can be used on an iPad, Android tablet, mobile phone device, everything. So no excuses. Now, the next tool I want to look at is something called Jamboard, which when I've spoken to people about in the past, they've not really used a great deal. The pupils don't have to decide on which folder to turn it into. That's a great question from Natasha. So when the students, if I go to a student screen, so here's my student screen. Thank you for that. Now here I am as a student, and they're going to go to, someone called this yesterday a waffle. So I'm going to keep it as a waffle. Now in the apps, they'll have a drive, and that drive is 15 gigabytes of storage for them. Now, as soon as the teacher has created the folder for the assignment and put it in the classroom, it will automatically be put into a folder for classroom. So let's have a look at this. So if they go to classroom, they'll go to the class that they're in. So I think it's called that one. Just going to test it. And there's their work that they've created. So it actually automatically gets put into a folder for them for that class. It doesn't create one called Vikings, so they may want to create one for that, but it automatically puts it into a classroom for them. So when they go to, say if they're doing some work for one class, there's another class, there's another one. All the work that they do for you will be saved in a specific folder for them. Again, they don't have to do anything. You will also have a copy of it as well, so there's no issues with that. So great question, thank you for that. Now, the next software I wanted to look at was something called Jamboard. Now, some of you may have heard of Padlet before. I'm just going to type in Jamboard. Now, Jamboard is pretty much a stripped down free version of Padlet, which I wish I knew about before paying for a Padlet subscription for the year. So Google Jamboard. As the teacher, because I'm in teacher mode now, all I'm going to go to is this plus symbol down here. And I'm going to go plus new jam. Here we go. So what this gives me is a blank screen. And I can put quite a few things on here. I can write with a pen. I can erase stuff with the eraser. I can select and move stuff. I can add pictures. So if I want to add image, again, remember, it's connected to Google. So I can just put in here, I'm going to keep with the theme of angry lads. I don't even like Vikings. So I don't know why. So there we go. We're gonna put these lads in for it. There we go. I don't know why I've put it upside down. There we go. So I'm going to resize this, make it nice. There we go. And I'm then going to use these little post-it notes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, who are they? Wonderful. I'm going to put another one up going, what year did they start? And I'm going to do another one called there we go. Wonderful. And I've created these little post-it notes. Wonderful. I'm going to give a little background because I like, there we go, nice little blue background. And then at the top here, I'm just going to give it a name. So where it says Untitled Jam, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to call it Viking Business. I'm going to go OK. So what I've created here is a very simple tool for my classroom. I'm going to go up to this box that says Share, because what I want to do is I want to allow my students to play around with this. So I'm going to change it for anyone who has the link. And I'm going to go, they can edit it. I'm going to go save. So it's key that we do that. So what I'll do is I'll just do that again just to make sure you see what I did there. So at the top, I went up to that little blue box. I changed it. Originally it's for off, but I'm going to change it to anyone with the link. And then where it says access, I'm going to allow them to edit it. If I have just view, all they can do is look at it and they can't add to it. But I want to allow them to edit it. I'm going to go save and done. Okay, and then I'm going to close it down. Again, I'm still in teacher mode. Here's my box up here. It automatically creates folders. We can't see your share button on the screen. Okay. No, I don't. Might be because I've moved this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another assignment for them. I'm going to create an assignment and I'm going to do it as collaboration Jamboard. So I'm going to say here, work as a team to answer the questions. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add from my Google Drive, because that's where it was last saved, my Viking board. I'm going to allow the students to edit the file. So what I'm going to do firstly, I'm going to show you a couple of options. This one, I'm just going to do students can edit the file. I can then select who this file goes to. So I'm going to send this one to both Learner 4 and Learner 5. Again, if I've got a larger class, I might want to send one assignment to one group, one assignment to another. And this will make sense, hopefully, in a second. And then I'm going to assign that to the students. Now let's go to our student mode. So let's go to my Internet Explorer friend. Now they've gone on their thing. They've seen they've got this task to do. And what they're going to do is they're just going to click on what I've created for them. Now they're collaborating as a duo on this project. So they can now see this board and they can come and they can add their own sticky note. They're going to do it in a different color. They're going to say, bunch of chaps. Lovely. And they're going to save that. Okay. And they can add that to their board. Now again, this is instantly saved for them. If we go to our other student, so here's our other student on Mozilla Firefox. They can see they've got this collaboration work to do. They can then click on the same board and they'll see now that the work that's up there has the comment made from the other learner. They can also see who is online. So they can see that there's their mates, Learner 5, they're on there, and they've added that comment there. And they can add their own sticky note. And they're going to put it in pink. So they can now add that comment. Wonderful. Again, automatically saved. So let's go back to our other student, Internet Explorer friend, and there he can see that our Mozilla Firefox student has added a comment on top of the one that they've done, because they're both working at the same time on that project. So those changes are shown in real time. Great question mark. Now this is a collaboration board. Once they're happy, they're going to close that tab and they're going to hit mark as done. Mark as done. And that's it. They don't actually submit anything. It's mark as done. So we're going to go back to our teacher's screen. Now you can't see who has written what post-it note. It's the one thing that's a bit daft. This is where I much prefer some of them, but if you separate up who's in your team, you can kind of set roles for them. Now, this is my teacher's screen, and I can see the board that they've put together for me. So I can see here's one team, and there they go. I can see the work by one student and the work by the other. You know, you may want to set rules for them and say, here's your project. Jack, I'd like you to do it in blue post-it notes. Henry, you're going to do it in green post-it notes, or something like that. At least that way you can then differentiate who's written what and where. But this is a real-time tool that you can use. Now, one of the questions that comes up a lot about this is going, well, what happens if, you know, some students don't work well together, or maybe you want them to create their own board? And we can do that with, again, when we go to create the assignment. So again, I'm on the teacher's screen, black bar at the top. I'm going to go create an assignment. I'm going to go Vikings again. Up. Add. Go back to my Google Drive. I'm going to add this Jamboard to the screen. So let's pick one that I've done from the other day. There we go. I'm going to add this one in that I've created. Now this one I can go make a copy for each student. I'm going to click this. I can select who I'm going to send it to. So it's going to go to all the students in my classroom, and I'm going to assign it. Now this time, different from the last one, yes, you can delete inappropriate post-it notes. You can actually, because you're seeing it in real time as well, you can go in and you can delete post-its. I'll show you how to do that one. So I've set this work now to 2 students. Let's go to my student view. So here is my Mozilla Firefox student. They're in their classroom. They can see they've got a new assignment. Now what they'll see here is this time the work is up here, and they're going to create this project. Now this one, I created this Jamboard the other day. Very nice and easy. There's lots of different things. So I've just, I went on Google Images and I typed circuit board. So all they're going to do now is I want them to move the little post-it notes to match the symbols. Okay, they're happy with that. Fantastic. So maybe they'll put done. They'll put an orange because they're happy. There we go. Now, once they've done that, they're just going to close down the window. So once that box disappears, there we go. And they're going to turn that in. Wonderful. Let's go to our other student. So our less than clever friend. They're going to see the new assignment, and they're going to go to the Jamboard. Now what you'll notice straight away with this one is that it's kind of like gone back to the start. It's reset. It's a brand new board. And again, because they're using Internet Explorer, there we go. And that's it. They can then close that down and they can turn that in. Let's go to our teacher's screen. Here we are on our teacher's screen. Just going to update this one. So I'll just refresh the screen for me. And I can see that 2 have been submitted. So I'll go view assignment. And lovely. So I can click on my Learner 4. I can see this. I can go, fantastic, well done. They've put the things so they can get 100. Well done. And I'll return that to them. I can go to my other student, Learner 5. There he is. And again, I can see their board as well. And they've put it all in the wrong place. They're just terrible. And I'll return that to them. So with the Jamboard, again, you can use it for collaboration. You can use it for individual, but it's about the simplicity of it. The fact that they don't have to go onto other websites and bits and pieces, and they can do it all within this one classroom. It's beneficial for you as a teacher because you can set everything up. What I like about Jamboard, again, I'll just show you how to create some of the tools. So some of the ideas I've kind of been messing around with. If I show you how easy it is to use, if I want to add an image, go add an image, and I'm going to go to Google image search. Now, if I already have in my drive, I've got pictures which are useful. So maybe I've done a field trip, something like that. Maybe I could use them. I could add those in there. But I'm going to just go Google image search, and I'm going to go flower template science. Wonderful. Let's go worksheet. Lovely. So what I can do is I'm going to insert this picture in. Wonderful. I'm just going to resize it, make it a bit bigger. Again, this is very quickly, you'll find a much better picture. But now the student could, I don't know anything about flowers. There we go, petal. So the task they could be would be to assign bits and pieces to where they go. It's about how you can best use it. But the key thing is, it's just so you can have it as collaboration, you can have it as shared, you can have it as played around. It's a very nice tool for them to use. Any questions at all on using Jamboard? They can use more than one page. That's a great question, Lindell, sorry. So if I want to have more pages, all I see at the top here, I can just go to create frame. And then I can actually have several pages as I go along. So I can have more than one screen. So maybe on screen 2, I'm going to have another activity for them. There we go. And then on screen 3, I'm going to have, I don't know, I could add something else in for them. Maybe I could add a web link. There we go. And they could go on this. The key thing is then that they can see all the different elements they go to. So you can have, for a lesson, you can have multiple boards for them to play around with and use. So that's quite a nice tool for them to have there. Great question. Thank you for that one. Any other questions at all about Jamboard? Oh, fantastic. Let's get started. Going through my list. So the next, do you Google Jamboard? Yeah, you can do it by going through the waffle. You mark the Jamboard exactly the same way. If I show you how to mark one, great question, thank you. And then I'll show you how to find Jamboard. So if I go to my Learner 4, this is them that they've just submitted the electrical template. Again, the key thing is I went to where the student work was and I clicked on the work. And as you can see, it's exactly the same sort of format as the previous one. I can add comments. Doesn't like it for some reason. Why is it not liking it? I think it'll probably be easier if I open it with Jamboard, but I can still add bits and pieces here and I can give grades for them there. And then once I've given a grade, I can return it. So it's, yeah, very much straight away. To find Jamboard, let's go back to, so here I am in my classroom. We're going to go, everything is up here under this waffle. And it's just down on my Google Apps, and it is there. So it's just under the waffle. Now, if you can't find it there, some people yesterday were saying they couldn't find it for some reason. All I did was just typed in Jamboard into my web browser, my search bar. I'm not sure if there's anything actually called a Jamboard. I'm not sure if it's something you have in your kitchen maybe, but that's the first web search at the top every single time. Now, the next tool I want to look at is making quizzes and questionnaires. I'm going to look at using Google Forms. So let's go to my apps again. And what you'll do is you will see, you can go more from Google. Much easier though, if I just open a tab and I type in Google Forms. And it's nice at the top. Now, the first one I want to look at doing is I'm just going to create a questionnaire to start with, and then I'm going to look at quizzes. So I go blank, because I just want a blanket one that I'm going to use. And I'm going to call this one, say I'm going to call this school trip. Stuff. Again, it's click and play. So where it says untitled question, I'm going to type it. I'm going to put what is your name. Now it will give me the following options there. I can put a short answer, they can put a short answer, they can put a paragraph, they can do multiple choice, check boxes. For this, it's just going to be short answer. And I'm going to make sure it's required. Now, if I make sure it's required, it means they can't send it to me without that being filled in. So they have to put a name. Once they've done that, they can hit add. And we're going to put another question in. So I don't know, do you have any allergies? So if they put here multiple choice, I'm going to put option yes. I'm going to put another option no. And I'm going to put another option ask me more. Okay. Now, once this is done, I'm going to give it a name at the top, so school trip, and it's automatically saved. It's saved in my drive for me, so that's lovely. Let's go back to my classroom, and I can share this with the students. So I can say, please complete for the school trip. I'm going to add the file. I'm going to just go to my Google Drive because it's automatically saved in there. It will show me the most recent thing I've worked on. There we go. And I'm going to post that to the students. Hugh, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game. You wait, Hugh. This is going to blow your mind. If you can't see his question, you get prepared. It's exciting stuff. So let's go to our student screen. So I'm going to go to my Firefox guy. There they are. And they can see they've got this school trip form, and they're gonna click on this. And here comes their questionnaire. And there it is, it's created. So for what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna fill that one in. They're gonna go yes, and they're gonna submit. And it's gonna not let them submit. So they're gonna put their name in. Their name is gonna be Learner 1. There we go. And they've now submitted that. Fantastic. Let's go to our next learner. So here's our Internet Explorer learner. And they're going to see the same form. They're going to go to that when it decides to load. Yes, Fion, head of the game. They're going to put the name in here. Learner 2. They're going to say, ask me Mark. And they're going to submit this. Now let's go to our teacher's screen. Now what they're going to do is, you, the teacher, you're going to go back to your drive where that work was last created. And you're going to see the form that you've just made. So you're going to go back into that form. Now what you can do is, at the top here, you'll see questions and you'll see responses. Click on responses and it automatically creates answers to your questions. If you love a pie chart, it creates a pie chart for you. Now, Hugh, get prepared. This little button up here, if I click on this, it will create for me in a second. Bang. Beautiful. It's an instant spreadsheet. It instantly collates everything for me. It tells me when they did it, what time, and it has it all together. Which button was that? Yes, you. What a time to be alive. Which button was that? I will do it again just because I know the excitement is just too much. So what I'll do is I'll go all the way back to the start again. I think that'll make it easier. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to click on that form. I'll see at the top where it says responses. I've had 2 responses. And then there it is there. It's the logo for Sheets. If I leave my mouse over it, it says view responses in Sheets. And they click on that. And it instantly creates it in Google Sheets. Now, what you're probably thinking, and Hugh will be thinking, is he'll be thinking, that's great, but what if our school system uses Excel? Get prepared. I can go File, and I can download this, and I can download it in any option. Now, this is the same if I use Docs, if I use Slides, if I use Drawings. If a student creates a presentation on Google Slides, I can download it as Microsoft PowerPoint. I can download it as a PDF. If they create something on Sheets, I can download it as Excel. So I could use Google Forms, collate this information, download it as an Excel file, and ping it across to my school administrator or save it however you want. So there's no worries about how you combine the 2 softwares together. It's quite nice. Now, let's look at another use of Google Forms. And we're going to look at using it to create quizzes, because we all like a quiz. So I'm going to get rid of some of these tabs. Again, I'm still in my teacher screen here because I have the black at the top. I'm just going to type in Google Forms. And I'm going to go Google Forms. Now, I'm going to go blank. Now, there's a key thing you have to do straight away with this. So as soon as you come on it, right at the top, you'll see this little cog where it says Settings. Click on the cog. When you click on the cog, this box will come up and you'll see it will say Quizzes. And then I'm going to click Make this a quiz. What this does is it means that when they give an answer, when you put the multiple choice, you can select which one's the right answer and so on. It adds a whole set of features. I can have immediately they get their mark, or I can return the mark at a later stage. So they can complete the quiz, it gets sent off, bits and pieces like that. So I'm going to have it immediately. Then once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to click Save. So what this will do is I'm going to give it a file name at the top. I'm going to call it Quiz for Fun. I can get the students to add their email address in there. So they can then collate that. And I'm going to put a question in there. So Now again, I have options here. I can have it as a checkbox, so if it's multiple choice, I can have it as a Likert scale, I can have a multiple choice grid, I can get them to give a short answer or a larger answer if I want. But let's say the topic of the day, so it's Vikings, Tudors, lads. There we go. Now once I've done that, I can see at the bottom answer key. I click answer key and I'm going to click what is the correct answer, and I'm going to assign it amount of points. So they're going to get 5 points for that. Once they've done that, I will click done. So what that has done there, it has given which to question. Now, if you do change your mind and you want to delete a question, you don't like it, you've got this little button down here. It's a picture of a bin. So if I go, actually, that's a rubbish question, I just hit that little bin and it deletes it for me. So it gets rid of it. Now, this is the same Google Forms that I would use if I was sending it to staff, I was sending it to anybody else. Let's add another question on here. This time I'm going to get them to put it as a, let's do it as a, I don't know, a short answer. Again, I can put a correct answer in there. Votes. There we go. And mark all other answers incorrect. And I'll assign this as points. Okay. So now I've got those 2 questions using multiple choice and using that. Now, someone may be asking, what if I want to add a picture as part of the quiz? Yeah? Yeah. Down the side here, I can add an image. Again, it's connected to Google, so I don't have to do much. I can just search for images. I'm going to put in, I don't know, Victorians. So there we go. And I can put a picture in. I'm going to put this one here. Let's delete that one. Don't like that one. So there's a picture. And I'm going to add a question underneath. So who is the lad below? And they're going to put a short answer. I don't know who this, I'm going to call him Edgar Davids. There we go. 15 points. So I can put pictures in there. I can make it a picture quiz. I can also add in videos. So it's connected to YouTube. So if I want them to watch a small video and then answer some questions on it, I can add YouTube clicks in there. Now, once this is done, all I do is I've got a few options. I can either send it to the students via email, but I'm just going to add it to my page for them. Now I'm going to set this Google quiz this time as an assignment. So I'm going to do assignment. I'm going to add from my Google Drive. It will show me my most recent one. So there's quiz for fun. So there's quiz. Give it a due date. There we go, lovely. And I will assign that to my students. Now, if we go to my learners, let's go to my Firefox friend. They're going to refresh their screen and they will see that they've got this new assignment coming up. And they'll see quiz. The difference between Google Forms and quiz option is that the quiz option, what I like about Google Forms is that I can create it and I can reuse it over and over and over again. The quiz option in Google Classroom is you create the quiz once and you can't reuse it later on at another stage. So that's the main difference between the two. Let's go to my learner. So they've put in, I don't know, someone's going to get a random email. They're going to put in their question. And once they're happy, they've submitted. Now they can view the score straight away because I allowed that. So it tells you where they got it correct. Wonderful. And myself, if I then go to my screen as the teacher, I can go to my drive. I can see where I've set this work for them. There it is. And I can see the responses I've had. It'll tell me the average scores in the classroom. It'll tell me all the data about who's given what answer and where they came from. And the key thing again, just for you, is bang, it will create a lovely spreadsheet for me. So if I do want to go into data, it's there. Now, the stream button is if you're using something which is a live stream, if you're watching a live thing. So that's like a live Twitter feed or Twitch and bits and pieces like that. The answers are case sensitive. So boats there has to be boats. But what you can do, if I just show you again, so Anne Case is asked, are the answers case sensitive? When I set the questions, such as this one here, how did they come over? I can actually put in another potential answer. So if I do think that they may put it with a capital B or a lowercase b, you just put in a selection of different answers for them. So here we go. I've got the name of the student, when they completed the quiz, the time, the questions and the answers, and that's automatically created for them. So it's a nice little tool to have. Again, it's simple, it's clear for the students to follow. And again, through creating it through Google Forms, it's over and over again. Now, if I show you a quiz assignment, it kind of creates it here, but I've still got to go back into Forms as well. Another option with the assignment is I can put just a question there for them, but it doesn't mark it as such. You still got to go in and mark it for them. And that's my list. That's a lot of bits and pieces I've looked at. My intention for next week's session is to look into a wider variety of third-party applications that link to Google Classroom. So I'm going to look at Padlet, Nearpod, Wakelet, Slido, Flipgrid. Some of you may have heard of Flipgrid. And there's something else. It's on a list. Thank you for coming along. We've got a few minutes before you have to run off. I'm going to send out the classroom code once I've added you all on. I'll probably do that later on tonight or tomorrow morning, and you will get that. If you have any questions, I'm going to sit here for another 8 minutes, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. If not, have a lovely evening. Go applaud the great care staff and NHS and all the key workers that help us. It's much appreciated. And I'll make sure I put up the video from this session. So thank you very much.